Hi everybody, welcome to SeniorWise TV. I'm Julie Schubach. I'm the director of the Senior Resource Center at Family Service. SeniorWise TV is a project of the Senior Task Force, an interdisciplinary group of professionals and community members that meet monthly to discuss issues and take action on issues affecting older adults in Champaign County. SeniorWise TV is a collaboration between the local Aging Network, Parkland TV, Urbana Public TV, and the wider community to produce and air engaging local content specifically for older adults in Champaign County. Thank you for tuning in.
I'm Kathy Rhodes from Circle of Friends Adult Day Center. And due to COVID-19, we have been closed for the past year, but we've been doing activities with our customers by computer. We've been doing Zoom and internet types of activities, but that doesn't always work so well with the older population because it's not a technology that we are familiar with. And I am one of those people that have difficulty sometimes with the technology. What we are really good at is using our TV. So we thought, why don't we bring senior activities and education to you via a TV? So that is what we've decided to do.
Hi, I am Michelle Roberts. I am the program director of the Occupational Therapy Assistant Program here at Parkland College. And the goal of SeniorWise TV is to provide opportunities for local older adults to move their bodies, exercise their brain, offer entertainment, and engage with the community from the comforts of their own home, whether they're sheltering at home in the midst of a pandemic, or they are simply not getting out into the community as much as they used to. This is a wonderful opportunity to engage and participate in various programming.
Hi, I'm Liz from Synergy Home Care, and we are so excited to bring you content specifically tailored for you. We will have exercise and stretches you can do right from home. We will have exciting entertainment such as comedians, musicians, and a nostalgic cooking show. And we will also have senior-specific education, health tips, and more. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Laura Rice. I'm the Senior Outreach Coordinator at the Champaign Public Library. We hope that SeniorWise TV will be an ongoing community resource that you'll be able to tune into each week. SeniorWise TV is available on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. at Parkland College Television Station and Thursdays at 1 p.m. on Urbana Public Television. Both are available for streaming after the program airs. Email us at seniorwisetv@gmail.com with questions or suggestions for what you'd like to see on TV. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jacob Johnston from the Urbana Park District, and today I'm going to show you how to access all of our wonderful SeniorWise TV content on YouTube anytime you want. The first thing that you're going to want to do is find an Internet Explorer icon, a Mozilla Firefox icon, or even a Google Chrome icon. All of these will get you to the World Wide Web. Now, I'm going to be using Firefox for this example, so I'll double-click my icon. For those of you who are using a smart device or a phone, it may be a little bit different, but today we're going to be using a standard computer. And I'll wait for it to load a little bit here. There we go. So once your internet browser of choice has loaded, you're going to want to bring your attention to the address bar at the top of the screen. Mine is currently loading into urbanaparks.org, but I would rather go to YouTube. So I'm going to backspace out of all of that stuff and instead type in youtube.com using my keyboard. Once I've typed in YouTube, I'm going to hit the Enter key, and I will not so swiftly be brought to youtube.com. Here we go. Once YouTube decides that it wants to load, we're going to see another search bar at the top of the screen. Do make sure that you're using the YouTube search bar next to the little YouTube icon and not the search bar at the very top of the screen. So in the YouTube search bar, I'm then going to type in UPTV 6, Urbana Public Television 6, and hit enter on my keyboard. If you see this icon, UPTV 6, then you have done it correctly. You'll click on UPTV 6 and be brought to all of their content, which is going to include, again, our wonderful SeniorWise content. Now, we also have our content on a different channel, which is going to be Parkland College's YouTube page. So I'm going to go back up to the YouTube search bar, backspace out of UPTV 6, and instead type in Parkland College TV. All right, if you see Parkland College here, you have typed it in correctly. Go ahead and click on Parkland College, and you will then have access to all of their wonderful content, as well as our SeniorWise materials. All right, I hope that this has helped today. And as always, stay safe and have a great day.
And I am the Client Care Manager at Synergy Home Care in Champaign-Urbana. I want to welcome you to my home kitchen for our first episode of our show, Let's Play Nostalgia. It is our hope that while watching the show, you will enjoy our old-fashioned recipes, maybe bring a little nostalgia to you at home. Today, my very special guest star is my boss, Betsy.
Hello there, I'm Betsy Benjamin, and I'm the Director of Client Care for Synergy Home Care of Central Illinois. And I am really excited to be here. And to be honest, I really don't know a thing about baking, so I'm excited to learn a few things today.
Okay, so today we are going to be making a wartime cake, also known as an eggless, milkless, butterless cake. I have never made this in my life, have you?
Definitely not. I've not even heard of it.
So this should be really interesting. So basically in World War II, a lot of things were rationed because factories weren't able to operate as much as they normally were. There weren't rubber for tires to transport things. Things were being shipped off to other countries and those boats were being sunk. So people didn't have the access to eggs, to flours, to milk, whatever it was. And so they made do. So this recipe is really interesting. It's just brown sugar, hot water, lard. They always used to cook with lard. Salt, raisins, cinnamon, cloves, flour, and baking soda. And that is the entire cake. So Betsy, I'm gonna let you get the raisins and sugars in, and then I am gonna get the 2 cups of hot water.
Okay. Here we go. Got a few more down here. Get those out. Some brown sugar here. Oh, that smells good. Love brown sugar. This is a really light brown sugar.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It is. I mean, 2 cups of brown sugar can't be all bad.
No, it can't be. Absolutely.
We're gonna dump that in. And then Betsy, since you're my very special guest, I'll have you put a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of ground cloves in.
Okay. Here. You might have to help me. My eyes aren't that good. Okay, that's 1 teaspoon.
You got it?
Right?
There we go.
Okay. There we go. This is why I don't bake, because I'm not really good with exact measurements. Cooking's a lot easier for me because I can just kind of wing it.
There's more forgiveness in cooking,
Yes,
for sure. Baking,
absolutely.
you do have to be a little exact.
Yes.
So I don't have lard sitting around my kitchen, but I do have shortening, which is a pretty decent alternative. So we are going to get 2 of these tablespoons in there. And this stuff sticks so badly, so you kind of got to get your finger in there, get it out. Perfect. And then let's make sure we have got our sugar, water, lard. Oh, we didn't do salt, raisins, and spices, so we just need to get that salt in there.
Salt.
Now it looks like we need 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay, there we go. And we are going to move on over to the stove. Okay, we are bringing that mixture that Betsy and I just made over to the stove. And when I want something to boil pretty quickly, I just full on go to that high, so that's what we're doing. We are going to make sure all of those delicious spices, that cinnamon, that clove, are mixed in with the raisins. And then to make it reach a boil even faster, we are going to cover it with a lid. Okay, well, while we're waiting for this mixture to come to a boil, Betsy, let's talk about your memories of World War II. So you weren't alive at that time, but your mother was a little girl. Has she ever shared some of those memories with you?
She has. My mom, who we refer to as PJ, she was telling me that, as Liz mentioned, that you had to ration back then. And she said you would get ration cards and they were different colors. And she said one time her mom asked her to go to the store and to get some meat. And she was in line to get some meat with her red ration card. And some woman got in front of her and took the last of the meat.
Shoved a little girl.
I know, and
That's
shoved
so
PJ
sad.
out of the way. It was really, really heartbreaking to hear that story.
But that's how competitive it was to just get those food and that meat and the egg.
Absolutely.
It was so sad.
So then she mentioned that Spam became very popular, which I've not had Spam. Have you had Spam?
I have had Spam. It's
Yeah.
so just salty and high
Yeah.
calorie, and I wouldn't call it a nutritious meat, but I mean,
But
it's
it
definitely,
was
if you're in a pinch, it
kind of
works.
pretend meat, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, so she mentioned that, and also that they started recycling during this time, and they would get money for the cans, and she said they would take, you know, all their stewed tomato cans and things like that, and get money for them. So
And
that's interesting.
These days, like I know in my neighborhood when we moved in, they just gave us a recycling bin, and we've always recycled. But I think before the wars, that wasn't really a thing.
No, I
think
don't
that
think so.
made it more popular.
I agree. And one other really fun story that she told me about was that they used to get out of school early to go and collect milkweed pods. And they were using those milkweed pods to make parachutes for the war. And I just thought that was really interesting. I mean, how crafty.
I know.
Right?
I don't even know what a milk
I
pod looks
don't think
like.
I do either. But my
No.
grandfather, so PJ's dad, was in the war for 3 years, and
He was a Marine, wasn't he? I remember
yes,
PJ mentioning that.
yes, he
PJ
was.
is a Synergy treasure.
Yes, she's our number one fan.
She
So
is.
yes, so yeah, those are just a few of the really kind of interesting stories that I remember her sharing with me. So it's kind of it's fun to think back about my mom as a little girl, you know.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was just such a different time in
It
America.
was.
And people made do, they really did.
I know.
So my grandmother was a little girl in World War II as well, and we were actually in an especially good position because my great grandfather was a butcher.
Oh,
and so
wow.
people would come for these ration
Uh-huh.
cards, and they would be able to sneak a little meat. My grandma always tells this story. My family was raised Catholics, and the nuns and the priests didn't get ration cards for whatever reason.
Ah.
And so my great grandpa would sneak them some meat from like their own family sometimes when he could.
Oh, that's nice.
I know.
Yeah.
It's such a sweet story.
It really is. So many things we can learn about, you know.
Absolutely. Well, let's check on our mixture. I'm starting to see some bubbles. So what these raisins are doing right now is they're basically forming like a syrup, kind of like a maple syrup, that's going to take the place of some of those missing ingredients and kind of bind our cake together. It is looking pretty good. I think just in another minute. Okay, so we are
Tell her I
to
said that.
we're causing trouble here, excuse me. So we are to a boil now, so I'm going to give that one more stir, and then I am going to reduce that heat just a little bit. It's still going to maintain that boiling temperature, but if I keep it on high, there's a really good chance that it would boil over. And then I am going to set my timer for 5 minutes, and then we can move on to the next step.
Wow, you can really smell the cloves. I love that smell.
I know that cinnamon in that. It
Yes.
just gives kind of like a Christmassy scent,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
Yes,
There's
like
a-
potpourri.
There's a chance this might actually be pretty good.
I know. I'm
Who knows?
excited to try it.
We're taking a
Yeah.
working mom break over here. Hi, baby.
Okay.
And then turn the stove off. And you're going to want to remove that pot from the heat, so just move it over to the next burner.
Okay.
There we go. And give that baby a stir.
I can do that.
Yeah. How's it smelling?
Smells amazing. Okay.
Perfect.
I have it all stirred to perfection.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so now our mixture has boiled for 5 minutes, and we need it to cool down before we can put the flour and the baking soda in. So if you want something to cool down a little faster, get it out of that hot container. So we are going to dump it in this big old bowl. Look at that steam coming up. That is toasty. And then I'm gonna cheat a little bit and stick it in the fridge. And there we go, and we'll check on it in a few minutes and hopefully it'll be cool. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to cool, I'm gonna continue interviewing Betsy.
Oh, good.
So Betsy, you have been my boss for about a year now, and what a year it has been.
It's been wonderful.
I know we've talked about before, you weren't in healthcare before you came to Synergy, so kind of tell me about your journey into healthcare.
I would love to. So I started working for a large insurance company in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Gosh, would that have been, I'm going to age myself here, but 1998, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
No, before that, it was I don't know when it was. It was a long time ago. I've been with Synergy Home Care for 8 years. Prior to that, I was in insurance for 23 years. And it just became a career that just wasn't really, I wasn't feeling passionate about. And I knew Jim and Gay Auberg, the owners of Synergy Home Care, and we kind of talked about, you know, just that I would love to get into some marketing with them. They had owned a private insurance company before that, and we had a mutual friend who had been diagnosed with ALS, and we all, kind of the friend group, got together to provide care for him that was care that wasn't necessarily needed by a nurse. It was just really helping him with all activities of daily living. And because of that venture, as well as Jim and Gay caring for some loved ones that have recently passed, they decided to pursue Synergy Home Care and asked me to come along and join with them, and that was 8 years ago. Almost 9, I guess. It'll be 9 in May. So wow. I know, and it's been wonderful. So since then, we have opened. We started in Bloomington Normal, and then opened in Champaign, Decatur, and Springfield. So it's been great. It's been a wonderful, wonderful ride, and it's just a career that I feel very passionate about.
Yeah, I know you and I both just absolutely love being around seniors and being in that environment, and marketing's so fun because what we get to do is just raise awareness and do things that we're passionate about.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when we first started, I really didn't have a marketing background, so which in some ways was kind of nice because I was fearless. I didn't have any preconceived ideas, and I would just go and market to anyone and everyone that would listen to me. So it was great, and I've called out bingo so many times, and that's always fun and competitive. And
love bingo.
Yes, so just the all the different ways that we are able to spread the word.
Yeah.
It's just been wonderful.
That's kind of how I got into it too. I was a home health nurse for years, and I didn't have a marketing background either, and then I got approached with this opportunity, and they were like, spend time with seniors and play bingo and make friends, and heck yes, how could I say no to that?
Absolutely. I mean, we always try to do what we love, and so it just comes naturally. You know, you're always just kind of spreading the word and talking about what we love. So
absolutely.
It's great. Yeah.
Okay, so we just pulled our mixture out of the fridge. It is completely cooled down, and so the final step is to put 3 cups of flour and 1 teaspoon of baking soda in with some warm water.
Wonderful. Well, I've got the flour.
Yeah, and I've got the baking soda.
Okay. So I'm going to have to go on to the second bag here. Wow, I could really make a mess here, Liz. Hope I don't sneeze. It'll go everywhere.
That's what I get for letting that.
I know it. Okay. 1. Okay. You know what? I think this is going to be easier.
You do whatever works best.
Okay.
It is kind of a small bag of flour.
2, 3. There we go.
We're gonna put this in. Let's get that. When you mix baking soda and water, it kind of forms a little bit of a paste. So I'm just gonna scrape all of that out and make sure it gets in there. And then Betsy, you want to do the honors of stirring that up?
I would love to. Okay.
And it really does still smell good.
It does. It smells really good.
For how this is gonna turn out. While Betsy's mixing that up, I'm gonna go grab our lard again.
Oh, we need lard again?
We do. We are gonna old school grease this coffee.
All right.
Here is my big old pantry. There's our lard shortening. So in my kitchen, I use this stuff and it's the best, and then I could just spray everything. But in World War II, they didn't do that. And this is actually how my grandma taught me to bake. She was the one that originally taught me how to cook. She would get a paper towel,
Oh, yeah.
just fill this baby with some fat, and then just rub it all around that can. And I have never baked something in a coffee can in my life, and so
I haven't either.
I need
It'd
to.
be
I need,
interesting.
this is the old school way to do it. Yeah. So we'll see. Tonight I'm just gonna really soak the inside of this and hope that it comes out.
Well, I'm getting a little bicep workout over here.
How are we looking?
I think it looks great. What do you
Good.
think?
Yeah, I think that looks really good. And this, if you can see that, is pretty much completely covered. All right. Just gonna make sure it's on the bottom as well.
Okay.
And then, I'm gonna sneak in there if I may.
Okay, please.
There are just so many raisins in this recipe.
I know.
We are just gonna dump this in the coffee can and hope for the best.
Then how long does it bake, Liz?
45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I know, it's actually kind of a long time for a bake, but that is because of the lack of some of those ingredients.
Well, and plus it's just like all on top of each other.
Yeah.
You know, if it were flat out, it probably wouldn't take as long, right?
Exactly. And everything always rises when you bake. So I'm gonna leave the top few inches empty. And then I'm not sure how much this is going to rise since it's in a different kind of vessel. So we will see how this goes. But now I'm just gonna throw this whole thing in the oven. Okay, we are going in. Bake, my friend, bake. 45 minutes.
Here we go. I can't wait to see it.
Okay, here we go, the final product.
Oh, the recycling.
Oh my gosh, look how much that rose. I was not expecting
Okay.
that.
And then.
Okay, so we just pulled this thing out of the oven and that rose a lot.
Oh my gosh, it sure did.
Way more than I was expecting. But look at that beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Golden brown color I got. I know that still smells good.
You know, you could even put some chocolate chips in there, maybe.
Ooh,
I'm
yeah,
not
I
into
know.
this. All about the
Great.
chocolate.
And that helps everything. So the question is now, how do we get it out? So normally when I pull something out of the oven, I like to get it out of the container so it doesn't continue to cook and kind of burn the edges. So we are gonna do our very best to get this thing on a baking rack.
It's coming out.
It's coming out. Oh, we're breaking a little bit.
Oh, do you want me to?
Yeah, if you can
Okay.
hold that for me. There we
Wow,
go.
look at that.
That's not too bad, and we're warm, but we're gonna.
It kind of looks like a mushroom.
Hey, we did it!
I love it. That's gorgeous.
There is our final product. It is a war cake, and there is no butter, milk, or eggs in there, and that actually stuck together.
That is fabulous. I
Yay,
love it.
team,
I
give me a high
cannot wait to try it. That's great.
Just like raisin bread, basically.
This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, Liz. I am shocked it came out as well as it did.
That's pretty like, huh?
I know.
It's pretty gooey. Now I gotta taste test it.
Okay, we ready to
Okay,
try
ready.
it?
I am
Okay.
so curious.
I am too. I want to make sure I get some raisins in that
I
bite.
know. That's actually really good.
It is so good.
Yeah, it's really sweet, and the consistency is actually pretty normal, like a baked good.
It is.
Those raisins give you a lot of sweetness.
It tastes like just like a muffin or something.
It tastes like raisin bread. I
Yes,
don't know that I would call it a
exactly.
cake, but if you're lacking on other sweets, this is actually pretty good.
Be good with a little butter or cream cheese or
Yeah.
something on top
Yes.
of it. So, yes, well, great job, Liz.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Betsy, for helping me today. And thank you all for joining us in my kitchen. For next time, if you would like to suggest a recipe for us, please feel free to email me at elizabethsollard@synergyhomecare.com. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Oh, that's a good one.
We're just gonna put the big lid on.
Yeah.
Up next, I'd like to introduce the very talented, very funny Ozzy Pearl. We hope you enjoy.
Okay, welcome to Hee Hee Haw. We've had classic country, Grand Ole Opry style. Now it's hayseed humor, hee haw style. We hope you're going to enjoy it. Like I said, these are all good, clean family stories, jokes, and things that many times will relate to your life. One of those was last summer. My Uncle Bob has 40 acres just south of my house, and he's got a peach orchard in it. And so he had a couple 5-gallon buckets, and this was in what, July or August, whenever the peaches come due. And he went back there to pick the peaches, and then when you get near the back end where the orchard's at, there's just a little rise, so you can't really see that there's a pond back there. And while he was walking back there, he heard some noises, so he wandered over toward the pond a little bit, and there was a couple college girls skinny dipping back there in that pond. He just walked up to the edge there, and the girl said, "Bob, get out of here. We're not coming out till you leave." He said, "I didn't come down here to watch you girls swim. I just came to feed the alligators." Yeah, feed the alligators. Like they're going to stay in the water for that. Oh my goodness. I was entertaining last summer again. Most of this happened last summer when we had nice weather. When I was coming over, I live at Weldon. I really didn't introduce myself to you or anything. We just kind of take off and go after it, and that kind of makes it fun. And so I've been at some of your residents a few times through the years, and when I come over, I'm from Weldon, and I go down to Monticello and get on Ridge Road, or the Monticello Road as they call it, and take it over to the airport road. And we've got some senior residents in that area. And as I was just about ready to come off the Monticello Ridge Road, there was a car parked along the side of the road. I didn't think anything about it. When I went by, he just waved real big. So I figured it was somebody who knew me, that either I entertain or do something, you know, that we got acquainted. And so I just thought, well, I'll pull off the road here and he can come up and maybe he wants an autograph. And sure enough, he come up along the side of my car and he had his autograph book. But I noticed that on top of his vehicle, he had a lot more lights than I did. He had red lights and white lights and blue lights, and he come up there along the van, and I said, "You want my autograph?" And he said, "I sure do." He put that ticket book in there, and I'm signing that ticket book, and he's swatting these bugs. He said, "What in the world are these bugs?" I said, "Well, on our farm out behind the barn, we call them circle flies." And he said, "Why do you call them circle flies?" And I said, "They just sort of circle around the back end of the horses." He said, "You're not calling me a horse's rear, are you?" I said, "Oh, no, sir, but you can't fool those flies." Yeah, I can't fool those flies. Oh. This fall, I thought maybe it'd be kind of fun to raise rabbits. So I got a hutch for each rabbit and put them in the backyard this fall. Well, hey, when it turned cold all at once. And I thought, you know, that might be hard on those rabbits. Maybe I'd better bring them in. So I got, each rabbit had their own hutch, and I brought them inside. I didn't want to keep them outside. I thought I'd bring them inside and put them down in the basement. And so I brought each hutch in and put it down in the basement inside. And would that be an ingrowing hair? Ingrowing hair? Yeah. Oh my. Oh my goodness, I forgot about this. I have a police scanner in my van, and so I can hear the calls, and I listen to it when I'm running up and down the roads. When I was coming up 45 to get up here, the police come on, and they had just found a lady dead in the Savoy area. And they found her dead. It was kind of an unusual situation. They found her dead in a bathtub of milk. And the only evidence that they had was she had a spoon in one hand and a banana in the other, and they think it was a serial killer. It'll soak in. That's one of those jokes, you listen to it for a while and then, oh yeah. I got ready to come over here, and something was wrong with my van. I don't know what the deal was, about like this computer. The generator wouldn't gin, and the spark plugs didn't spark, and the pistons wouldn't, well, they didn't work either. Oh, did you know that Forrest Gump passed away this morning? You may not have heard it since you guys are busy in here, but he's already ascended up to heaven. St. Peter met him at the gates. He said, "Now, Forrest, before I can let you in, you have to answer 3 questions." Forrest said, "Okay." He said, "How many days in the week begin with a T?" Forrest said, "Well, that's easy. That's today and tomorrow." St. Peter said, "That's pretty good. I wasn't expecting that. That's all right." He said, "How many seconds are in a year?" Forrest said, "Well, that's easy too." He said, "There's 12. He said, "How do you figure there's 12 seconds in a year?" And he said, "There's January 2nd, February 2nd, March 2nd, and there'll be 12 of them eventually." 3rd question. Forrest, what is God's first name? He said, "It's Andy." He said, "Andy, how do you figure it's Andy?" And he says, "Well, Andy walks with me, Andy talks with me." I thought that was pretty good. Oh my. Oh, again, this is from last summer. I keep saying that because part of this temperature today might not be what the temperature is 6 months from now or 6 months back. Anyway, I've got a neighbor. Every Saturday night, he goes in town to the to the barn grill, as he calls it. He just gets drunker than a skunk. He drives his car in, but obviously by the time he gets pretty well polluted, he can't drive his car. Besides that, he can't find it anyway. So he walks home. We've got a dredge ditch, a creek that runs through the farm. One of our local churches still does traditional baptisms. He walked home on Sunday morning, got there about daylight, right when they were doing their baptism ceremony. So he just walked up there along the ditch, and he stood there. They were all lined up down the ditch, and every time it was somebody's turn, they'd move over, and pretty soon it got to be his turn. I get to wander around here sometimes. It got to be his turn. Preacher reached up and got a hold of him, brought him down, held him under, and brought him back up. He was sputtering a little bit. He needed some air. Preacher said, "Did you see Jesus?" He said, "No, I didn't." Preacher grabbed him, took him down, and held him a little bit longer this time. Brought him back up, and boy, he was coughing and sputtering some. And preacher said, "Did you see Jesus?" And the old drunk said, "No, I didn't." Preacher grabbed him a third time, and he took him under, and he held him this time. Brought him up, and man, he was coughing and spitting and sputtering. The preacher said, "Did you see Jesus?" He said, "You sure this is where he went down?" Oh. Oh my goodness. I got to go to Walmart the other day. I never go to Walmart, but I had something I had to get. And I was standing in line at the checkout, and this guy was standing there getting checked out. This lady was between us, and I was third. And all of a sudden, this lady let out a big sneeze. And when she let out that sneeze, it popped her glass eye out. Well, this guy, being as quick as he was, he turned around and grabbed that glass eye before it hit the floor. And you think about it, it could have hit the floor and cracked or chipped or broke or whatever could have happened. And I imagine those glass eyes are pretty expensive. Anyway, she was so appreciative, she said, "Why don't you come home and I'll fix dinner for us?" Now, for you city people, dinner is at 12 o'clock noon. Supper is at 6 o'clock, so you don't get confused. She took him home, fed him dinner. She said, "Why don't we just get a movie and watch it this afternoon?" So they did. Supper time come around, and she said, "Why don't you just stay for supper and I'll fix something?" And he did. She said, "Why don't we just get a movie and watch a movie?" So he did. She said, "Why don't you just stay all night?" So he did. The next morning, about 10 o'clock, he said, "You know, something bothers me." He said, "Do you treat all your men this good?" She said, "Oh no, you're the first one that ever caught my eye." Yeah, I guess so. Oh my goodness. A diaper and a politician should both be changed regularly and for the same reason. Yeah, we've come through enough of that in the past few years here. My neighbor lady lives just a quarter of a mile south of me, and she's really a very nice lady. But she's been married 4 times, which is nothing wrong with that. The first time she married a millionaire. The second time she married an actor. The third time she married a minister. And the fourth time she married an undertaker. If you think about that, that's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, and 4 to go. Millionaire. Actor, minister, and undertaker. I guess that'd be good ones to have on their side. Oh, we have a new minister in town at our church. And so Miss Maud, I don't even know what Miss Maud's last name is. She's just always been there. She plays the organ every Sunday. She's probably done this for 40 years. So the preacher, young preacher, went over and thought he'd better get acquainted because they're going to be working together every Sunday and sometimes during the week. And so he knocked on the door and she came, let him in, took him to the parlor. She said, now you just enjoy the parlor, all the things that are in here. Man, he looked around and there was all kinds of books on one shelf, all kinds of dishes, collectible things, a bunch of carvings on this wall. On the big wall was a big Wurlitzer organ. That big Wurlitzer organ sitting there, just beautiful, that she practices on. So she had gone to the kitchen to get some tea and crumpets. For you people not cultured, crumpets, just a little old cracker anyway. She come out and gave him his crumpets and iced tea. And he said, Miss Maud, your parlor is beautiful. All of these carvings, all of these books, all these dishes, your big Wurlitzer organ. When he looked at the organ before she come back in the parlor, he noticed that there was a bowl of water sitting on the shelf of this big Wurlitzer organ. And on the shelf and in this bowl was a little packet floating around, and it said condom on it. Well, he wasn't sure how to handle this, so he wasn't going to say a word, wasn't going to mention it. They sit down and visit a little bit, and he complimented her on all the things, and he just couldn't help it. He said, Miss Maud, I noticed that you have your big Wurlitzer organ up here. There's a bowl sitting on a shelf with a packet floating around. She said, funny you should ask that. She said, the other day I went out for my walk, and while I was walking, I looked down on the sidewalk, and there was this little packet. And it said, if you put it on your organ and keep it wet, it'll prevent diseases forever. She said, I haven't had a cold all winter. Oh, she was lucky, I guess. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I stopped at the local restaurant before I come this afternoon, whenever I got here. I went in and got a sandwich, and I was sit down eating it, and there was a guy come up and sat right behind me. And, you know, in a restaurant, how you can hear what people's conversation is, and the waitress come up, and she said, could I help you? And he said, yes, I'd like to have a BLT NT. She said, well, I understand you want a bacon, lettuce, tomato, but I'm not sure about the NT. And he says, no toast. She said, we'll fix it up. Took it back to the kitchen, cook worked it over, brought it back out, set it down. He began to eat. Pretty soon she come by and check on him and said, how is it? And he says, it's SOB. She said, oh, we got a problem? He said, oh no, it's just soggy on the bottom. She said, okay, I'll get that fixed up. Picked it up, took it back to the kitchen. Cook got a hold of it, worked it over, brought it back out. There was a little note attached to it, said S-H-I-T. Guy said to the waitress, have we got a problem with the cook? She said, oh no, he just said, should have had it toasted. Oh. Well, we're kind of getting close to the end, I think. We hope that we've entertained you and that you have enjoyed it. I'm not sure when you're going to get to see this, since we're doing it sometime in the winter. It's been fun to be with you and to be with you again. But before I leave you, I would like to sing a song to you that I really think is going to be a #1 tune. And if you go out and buy 6 or 8 or 10 copies for your family and friends, and we may get this up to being a #1. So I'd like to sing it for you now. Lulu had a steamboat, the steamboat had a bell. When Lulu went to heaven, the steamboat went to. Hello, operator, give me number 9. And if you do not answer, I'll kick you in the behind the refrigerator. There is a piece of glass, and if you set up on it, you cut your little. Ask me no more questions. I'll tell you no more lies, for this has been the story of Lulu and her life. Thank you, gang. It's been fun today. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you for tuning into SeniorWise TV. We hope you enjoyed the show. This video can be accessed anytime on YouTube.com. Type in UPTV6 in the YouTube search bar and look for their microphone logo. We hope you'll join us next week for more local, engaging content designed specifically for Champaign County older adults. Take care and stay safe.